I used to work some with Kathryn Kuhlman, and she was so heavily anointed. God used to just to saturate me with the presence of God. And I remember one day I was helping Kathryn in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the next day I was still partly numb. The feeling began to come back into me the next day after all those hours. Blessed be God forever. But I don't think Kathryn ever did, but I always wished that Kathryn would carry a teacher around with her to teach people how to keep their healing. Because God gave Kathryn two main gifts that operated supernaturally in the realm of the gifts of the Spirit. He gave her the gift of word of knowledge. She really had three, but you can call it healing. He gave her the gift of the word of knowledge that operated supernaturally in her ministry every day, publicly. I never saw her ever have one service that didn't operate strong and mightily. He gave her the gifts of healing to operate supernaturally every day, and the gift of working the miracles to operate supernaturally every day. And so those three gifts operated strong, supernaturally every day. God gave them to Kathryn, and that's what her ministry was built on. She would tell you herself, she says, I am not a good teacher, I am not even a good speaker. She says, I am frankly nothing. She would tell you plainly, she says, I have no looks, and I have no talent at all, none. She said, I have nothing except the Holy Spirit that lives in me and what the Lord has called me to do. And she'd tell you, I'm a little Methodist girl from Concordia, Missouri, sitting up in a balcony in a Methodist church as a little teeny Methodist girl, and the Spirit of the Lord coming up on her and calling her to preach. And she started in her young days just as a little girl and began to preach. As a teenager, in those days, people hated women preachers. They're still not too popular. In some circles, they're not popular at all. But in Kathryn's days, most cities would just half tire and feather you if you're a woman was trying to preach. I was raised in the Southern Baptist movement myself. I couldn't help it. I was born into a Southern Baptist family. And my parents and my uncles and aunts and cousins, they were all Southern Baptists. I thought everybody in the world was Baptist. But I found that there wasn't, just most of them. Ken Copeland says sometimes you think they have more Baptists than they do people on earth. Well, over in Fort Worth, in Dallas, and right through this belt here, James Robinson country over there, and where I live, I know where I live in Tennessee, in Cleveland, Tennessee, where I have my Bible school, I know in that particular county, the state of Tennessee has 95 counties in it. In that one county that I live in is called Bradley County, Cleveland, Tennessee, right next to Chattanooga's in Hamilton County. But in Bradley County, just that one county, we have 55 Southern Baptist churches. You can imagine how many thousand we have in the state of Tennessee. And we don't have, and none of them believe in women preachers. Believe me, they don't believe in them. They don't even believe they exist. They think it's of the devil. They don't believe in women preachers at all. But it's a strange thing. Southern Baptists don't run heaven. It doesn't make any difference what the Methodists or Catholics or Baptists believe. They may not believe in women preachers, but God does. And I guarantee you won't ever, if you're a woman, you'll never be called to preach by the Southern Baptists. Just mark that down in your book. You'll never be called to preach. They will not call you. But if the Lord anoints you, and you can be a little Methodist girl, and Methodist is just about like Baptist. You can be a little Methodist girl, a little teeny Methodist girl, sitting up in the balcony in the Methodist church, and Jesus decides, well, maybe that little girl, she's not pretty, she don't have no talent, she don't have nothing, but I want her, I love her, I want to call her to preach. So he lets his Spirit come up on her, and he calls her to preach. I tell you, when God calls you to preach, it has to come out somewhere. So Kathryn would begin to preach, and they wouldn't rent her a hotel room if she couldn't find no place to stay. She'd just go into town and start preaching. She said sometimes she used to sleep in chicken coops. She'd get so tired of preaching and praying for people that she had to sleep somewhere, and nobody wouldn't give her a room, so she just slept in the chicken coop with the chicken. And towards the last part of her ministry, God began to anoint her more and stronger than any 10 men I ever met. And I know nearly all of them. The anointing on her was stronger than any 10 men I ever met. I mean, it operated on her every day. Every time she had a service, you just might as well look out, because God just gave it to her all the time. And it was real too, brother. I mean, it was real. There wasn't anything phony about the anointing that was on her. Some people have anointing on them, you know. They have a strange spirit, and you wonder what kind of spirit they got. Strange. Well, on Kathryn Kuhlman, there wasn't nothing strange about her spirit. I mean, it was real, brother. I mean, it was just as sweet. It was just as sweet and clean and precious from heaven as anything in the world. Glory to God. And the Lord would use her mightily. She'd speak 45 minutes or an hour and have 3 or 4 or 5 hour altar calls. I mean, just keep on and on and on and on and on. Somebody says, Brother Norvel, you speak a long time sometimes. Kathryn Kuhlman's altar calls used to be twice as long as what I speak. Just the altar call. She'd been delivered from denominations for sure, that's for sure.